Warm regards to you. This is Doctors on Call. My name is George Oraro. As usual, Doctors on Call, our main aim is to focus on your health. And this particular evening, we want to talk matters pertaining to alcoholism. This is a disease which I believe is claiming a lot of lives. According to NACADA's statistics, we have 15 million drinkers, active alcoholics in the country. 15 million, guys, that's a big number. And from this 15 million, we have 12 million people who are actively taking alcohol on a day-to-day basis. Now, let me shock you further. Further statistics claim that out of these 15 million active drinkers, alcoholics, half that number is from the age group of 10 to 19 years. These are just teenagers. Instead of consuming alcohol, they should be consuming knowledge from their books. Where did we go wrong? Is the society to blame? That's our discussion this particular evening. I have a panel, a variable panel here with me. I have Catherine Amulunu. She's a clinical psychiatrist, together with Dr. Ignatius Kibe, a pharmacologist. We are going to talk more on the mental effects alcohol has to your body and the health implications as well. This discussion is all about you. Are you a recovering addict? Are you undergoing alcoholism and you want to get out of this? Do you know someone who is going through the same? This is your time to get in touch with this able panel for further clarification on that. You can reach us on our SMS line, which is 22316. You can call us alternatively on 02042000000. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, George.
Nice to have you on set. To start off our discussion, it's polite if we know the basis of alcohol. Dr. Kibe, what is alcohol, as we start off briefly?
Well, best is to say that everybody has his own definition of alcohol. Those who went through high school and probably college, and those who have done chemistry will know a whole branch of science, organic chemistry, of alcohols. So, and those who, like Catherine, who are doing the psycho and psychiatric alcoholism study of, they know alcohol only as that intoxicating drink. But those who've done chemistry, they will talk about alcohols. And in the alcohols, we have several. We have methanol, which is causing havoc. We have ethanol. We have propanol. We have pentanol. You know, it's a whole range
array
of chemicals that are called alcohols. But in the social structure, we only zero in onto this one that is intoxicating. It's important to say that they are all basically in the chain, or the chemical chain, the chemistry, the organic chemistry chain. They are all present in drugs and also in the conventional alcohol. In other words, what I'm talking about is in Buza or in Shanga. We have ethanol, the intoxicating one, and during the process of distillation or fermentation, we also have ethanol, and we have methanol, and we have propanol in the final product. That means, apart from the one that is known to intoxicate, ethanol, in an ordinary drink, it is contaminated.
Okay.
And that is why you hear NACADA and the ministries are saying now, can you register, can you tell us the chemical composition of your alcohol,
drinks. Okay.
so that we know precisely that we're dealing with ethanol and not the other adulterants.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Catherine, courtesy of NACADA, we are seeing half of these 15 million active alcoholics, half of them are teenagers ranging between 10 to 19 years. Now, are parents to blame psychologically? And who's to blame? Who's to take the blame? Because I believe alcoholism leads to addiction. Now, second question is, what are the common indicators by children that we can tell this kid is abusing alcohol?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying everybody is to blame. The society is to blame. The children are to blame. And everybody of us, each one of us are involved in especially the bringing up of these children. But we also need to put something clear. The 12 million we are talking about, there's a difference between people who are consuming and people who are already addicted. So when we talk about use, there are people who are using socially. Like you wake up after a day of work, you pass by your local bar and you take your beer or two and you go home. We need to put a distinction. Is this the number who are already gone down the chain?
Into addiction.
Into addiction. Because when we talk about alcoholism and addiction, addiction is actually a process. It's not something which starts in one day. Most of these children start by experimenting. Why? Because maybe they're seeing their parents drinking. It's been advertised. Probably elder children or brothers and sisters are drinking. And it's readily available in the society. So children are tempted to experiment with this thing. What is it?
And most of these advertisements are catchy in that you see and you want to try out that product.
Yes, and actually because they want to sell. So they want to associate that alcohol, consuming alcohol with looking good, being successful. You know, we've seen some telling you, can you sit in the table of men? And if you are a young boy, especially in your teenage years, you want to be a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with the second bit, common indicators, maybe parents can use to determine if their children are already deep into alcoholism, because I believe there are some pointers when it comes to this.
Yes, it's true. Like we're saying, it's a process. As parents, we need to be very keen on your child. One of the main things for a person who is sinking deep into to alcoholism or to addiction, first they start neglecting their major role obligations. And as a child, you're supposed to be in school and studying. So you find grades are coming down. So this child, especially if they have been performing well or fairly average and now they're going down, their grades are not coming up, and you can't find an explanation. As a parent, you need to be worried. A child who suddenly becomes secretive, you don't know what they are all about. You don't know quite their friends. They probably have just, you will have an idea there's a friend called Jane or Johnny or Peter, and you only know them by first name, and they're very secretive about that. Such children may also be found with materials which may suggest like they are using drugs. You may find them with, if they're smoking, because like smoking is one of the main drugs which get you into drug use. So you may find cigarette butts where they are, or some material you may not understand. Nowadays they actually have even banky, you know, sticks of banky or stuff you may not understand. Then as a parent, you need to be worried. They may also be needing a lot of money, which you can't explain, or small things in the house are getting lost.
Or maybe you buy a phone, the next day it's gone and they say it's stolen, such kind of pointers.
Yeah, with a story which does not add up.
Really
as a parent, you need to
get concerned.
Yeah, to get concerned. Yes.
Okay, in case you're joining us, we're live on Family TV and Family Radio 316. Discussion this evening is pertaining to alcoholism. What can we do to avoid this menace? That's the question I'm handing over to you. But remember, this conversation is not complete without you having an input in it as well. You can reach us via SMS, which is 22316, or call us on 020-4200-000. Share your story, share your testimony. That's how people learn. But now, talking about testimonies, we had a visit to one of recovering alcoholics, and here is what he had to tell us. Have a look.
Alcohol consumption in Kenya, especially among the youth, is a major catastrophe, with half of all drug and alcohol users being between 10 and 19 years of age. This indeed is a worrying trend, given the fact that most of these children taste their first sip of alcohol at a very tender age. Just recently, the NACADA chairman, John Mutudo, revealed some shocking statistics that currently we have about 15 million Kenyans said to be drinking regularly and about 12 million Kenyans drinking daily. And as if these shocking statistics are not enough, more and more headlines keep emerging. But such did not start just the other day. It is a trend that has been there for almost a decade now. Having tasted his first sip of alcohol back in 1995, Edwin Gitau, now an addiction counselor, knows this too well. His started as just an experiment, but it turned to be something else.
It all started as an experiment. I was experimenting when I was in high school, not knowing that it would be a big problem. That was back in 1995. And it was a casual drink, and it didn't mean much to me.
He finished his high school well and then proceeded to India for further studies, where he would still drink occasionally, but on returning home, frustrations pushed him to more drinking.
The problem became serious when I came back to Kenya and I started looking for a job. None was forthcoming. And that's when just a continuation of the drinking, but it became worse. I think it was out of desperation. I was disillusioned. And in the year 2003, I got a job as an accountant, an office manager in Nairobi as an accountant, and I was earning something to do with 15,000 shillings. And where the office was located, just next was a wines and spirits shop. And so I'll just go. It was the time when we had the sachets. I'll just go pick one, put in my pocket, drink some, and then I had the takeaways. And these now accelerated the drinking. And it did not last long.
His addiction built steadily, and before he realized it, he had become a morning, afternoon, and evening drinker.
When the monies I had got exhausted, I didn't have a choice, because now I started getting the cravings. I need to take something for my body to function, and that's how I realized addiction has set in. Because if I'll not have something, if I'll not drink something, I'll get tremors, I'll have sleep problems, I'll have shivers this minute and the next minute I'm sweating, and when I take a sip, all that problem is settled.
By this time, alcohol was not a party drug anymore, and neither was it for the fun. It was out of necessity to get up and for his body to function.
It is cheap, it is readily available any time of the day, and with as little as 50 shillings, you're drunk for that day. And life was not so sweet for me. But now, when I try to get out of it, it becomes a problem.
He started taking the second generation alcohol drinks, which took him even deeper into addiction.
It became worse because sasa ilikuwa ni changa kumi, and I didn't have the monies. So I'll do all types of jobs to make a few coins to sustain my drinking. To the extent that I'll wake up even at 5 a.m., 5:30, so that when it's coming from where it is brewed, and it is concentrated. When it's being diluted, I'll get a chance of taking some to test whether it's to the standard that is required by the drunkards. It wasn't nice, and by then I would think I would sit back and think, what has happened in my life?
Getting over an addiction is not an easy thing. In most cases, it's a journey that involves many others, especially family members.
I had told my mom, I don't need your help. But then a time came when I told her, no, now I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's look for a place. I just want to get out of this place for a few days and see whether I'll overcome the problem.
Sober for years now, his life has changed in ways that are beyond belief. Edwin is now an addiction counselor who helps people going through addiction overcome this disease.
And since 2011 to date, I'm sober and I'm happy and I have no regrets and I'm happy. That's why I dedicate all my time to help the people I left behind. So my journey to recovery started.
Being a family man now and clean since the year 2011, he is one of the many people who managed to escape this disease labeled alcoholism. But much more needs to be done to eradicate this menace of the drinking culture in Kenya, or better still, reverse this situation that continues to kill millions of young souls in the country.
From an addict to an addiction counselor, Edwin, we celebrate you for that amazing story. We believe it's going to touch and change a lot of lives. This is Doctors on Call. My name is George Oraro. In the panel, I have Catherine together with Dr. Kibe. Our focus this evening is alcoholism. Ask any question pertaining to alcoholism, and this variable panel will be able to respond to it. It might be your child suffering from that. It might be you yourself. Don't be ashamed. This is the right time to ask. Now, Dr. Kibe, from Edwin's story, he said there's a point it reached. He felt like his body could not function without taking alcohol. He needed to take alcohol so as to feel productive. What's happened so that you feel just you need the urge, the craving to take alcohol, Dr. Kibe?
I believe Catherine is better versed with addiction, the process of addiction.
Mm-hmm. And we're getting to stages of addiction.
I want to mention the medical aspects, that there are nerves that are involved. There is the brain, and there is an area in the brain that we call the cerebral cortex. And what happens is the process of addiction is a change of the nervous perception and the organization of importance of the roles of jobs that are ahead of oneself. What we're talking about is not just alcohol. It also involves drugs like bangies, those children who are sniffing glue, somebody who is probably also extracting petrol and,